In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? Use. In this section, I'm going to be talking about how I used existing media products for my film poster. The first one here is Host. As you can see, it's I've used reds and blacks and white small print. Also, there's a little bit of red at the bottom just here, where it's got the release date, and then down here as well is where I've got the website instead of the release date. It's very gory as well. This is Nightmare on Elm Street, where I've got, again, the colour scheme is very similar, also some white writing, whereas the majority of mine is in red, but we have got some white writing as well, where the small print is. Also, again, the use of logos of film companies that they've used. Although Nightmare on Elm Street does have a lot of elements that we have used in it, it also sort of links into the development area of the question, as it uses a lot of symmetry in it. You can see the whole figures instead of just the close-up of the face like you can in my one. The use of symmetry in Nightmare on Elm Street suggests that there is some sort of psychological thriller to it. For example, that the fact that Freddy Krueger goes into the dream world of the person. However, we didn't decide to use that in our posters. We felt that we wanted our audience to be really familiar with the type of poster that we have, and we wanted it to be extremely simple so that we could build up a trust element with our audience and help them to become familiar with our product really quickly and easily, so that then when they go and see it in the cinema, they already know that it's going to be a film that they really enjoy, and they're not overwhelmed by the amount of complication. And also, we felt that we didn't use very much symmetry in our trailer, therefore it wouldn't have been very useful in our film poster. We wanted our film poster to really move on from our trailer and really look as if they're all part of one product. Here I've just got some small print from Mirrors. It's just purely to show the extreme differences between the small text and the big text. The bigger text is used for the more important information in it, and also again the red writing and the white small print. We found that the white small print was most commonly used in all existing trailers, so that's why we decided to use that. Again, it's a trust element to build up with our audience. Develop. We developed our poster. We looked at film posters such as Shutter, which, although we took elements from it, for example, the blurred writing, we decided that we would like to use that as it sort of suggested the psychological element of our trailer. It showed our audience that our character hadn't completely figured herself out, and there was something wrong with her. Everything isn't straightforward. It was very scratchy, for example, if words put it. For example, that's shown through our text. However, we developed this idea as we wanted the face of our media product to be very in focus and sharp, so that the audience could clearly see the character and the element of it. Again, it's a close-up of the face, much like they've used in the Shutter one. However, our one is clear, and there also isn't as much gore in the Shutter one as we've decided to use. We wanted a lot of gore and blood to suggest that this is how our film is going to be as well. The Uninvited, again, that uses symmetry that could suggest psychological thriller, and they've used black and white, but we've decided to go and use red. And again, the text isn't straightforward as they were in the previous ones, such as in The Host and Nightmare on Elm Street and Mirrors. The text is very scratchy and uneven, much like we've used in our slogan. And the eye as well. We've developed our idea of the eye because in our poster, the eye is very, you can't really see it. It's very blacked out. And in this one, in the eye, although we've completely used the idea of the eye being very a very focal point of our image, but we didn't crop it so that all you could see was the eye. But we decided that it would be quite a good idea to really draw attention to that element, as it also the saying that the eye is the entrance to the soul, so our audience could tell that there was something wrong with her through the look of her eye. And challenge. In our poster, we didn't really challenge all that much of our of the already existing media products. The reason that we did that was because we really wanted to highlight and get our audience to trust us. So we used and developed quite a lot of codes and conventions, but we didn't necessarily challenge that many of them in our poster. Our poster wasn't made to be challenged, as we really wanted our audience to trust us and to really want to go and see this film. And we felt that in our trailer we challenged quite a lot of codes and conventions, and we thought that something a bit more simple for our poster would make our audience more familiar with our product, because our poster was so different and so unfamiliar that we wanted something that would really draw them in. And used for our web page, here we've got one from Hot Horror Moving. We've used quite similar aspects, mainly from here upwards. The bottom we didn't really look at because we felt that it was extremely messy and we didn't particularly like that look. But at the top we used very simple images here and here, like stills from our own trailer, and again all the red writing here for bold titles, and also some small print down here which we've used here as well, small print. Developed. We looked at Insidious quite a lot for our development. Certain aspects we used, such as the red and white theme going on. However, we felt that it was a bit clustered, and we weren't too sure where to go with this film trailer. We looked at Sklar's theory for our webpage, and we couldn't really fit a theory to the Insidious page, as we wouldn't know where to start reading it. Whereas with our one, you could really tell that you go across the page, whereas Insidious, you just have absolutely no idea where to go. So it doesn't really link in with Sklar theory, which we felt attracted our audience from wanting to visit this website. So what we did was we used the main image of a person, the young boy here, who's the main character. We took that element and we decided to put it into our trailer as well. Also, the very sort of dark and gloomy background we decided to use, and we did quite like some of the clustery bits, so we decided to make a row of stills at the bottom to sort of add a bit more depth to our trailer. Otherwise we felt that it would have been much too simple. With challenging it, we didn't want to challenge too much again with our web page, as we really wanted it to be simple and easy to navigate, and we really wanted our audience to build up that trust element even more. However, we challenged quite a lot of the cabin in the woods, as we felt that we liked it simple, but the cabin in the woods was over simple, and we sort of looked at it and got a bit we weren't really all that interested in it. It seemed a bit boring. So what we tried to do was we tried to really include quite a lot of images, like Insidious did, to try and bring our poster a lot more to life. And also here with the cabin in the woods, you can't really see the titles that much, which is why we wanted to do our titles in a nice bold red colour, so you could really see what they are, really see what their purpose is there, and just really draw attention to it. Again, we've used in our film trailer. What we used quite a lot of was fade to black transactions, which we found we used in the thriller The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. As you can see here, there's a sequence of a fade, and we felt that this made our made our trailer really smooth and everything ran together. And we were able to cut to sections of different images without our audience feeling as if they were really confused and they weren't overloaded with information. It gave them a very small chance to breathe and take in what they have seen. Something we also used was a girl victim, such as in Scream. This is very traditionally used, is that the girl is the victim and the man is the hero or the villain. And in our trailer, we decided to use both. We decided to use the girl as the victim, but also the girl as the villain, as they were the same character, and we felt that this also challenged some stereotypical views that the guy always has to be the villain. So we thought it was fun to use and make our audience familiar with the fact that the girl is, yes, the victim, but we can also challenge their ideas to say that the girl can also be the villain as well. We also used a very similar concept to Shutter Island, which at first we didn't actually look at, but as time went on, we decided to look more into schizophrenia and films about schizophrenia. And Shutter Island was a film about a man who had committed a murder, and he thought that he was a marshal and an investigator, and he really thought of himself as a hero. And the girl in our trailer as well thinks of herself as a hero as she goes to police, telling them this girl that she's seeing was the murderer, whereas in fact she turned out to be the same girl. It's just a very similar concept to Shutter Island. But we've also changed it a bit as well to make it our own. In The Devil Inside, they've used cuts on the arms and gore like that, which we've also used in our trailer. We've used cuts on the arms to signify not self-harm, but murder and gore, and all those aspects. And we really like the gore aspect of all of that. Another thing that we've used is close-ups to show a very strong emotion and very strong psychological disorder. As you can see in The Devil Inside, again, it's used the close-up to show that the mum isn't mentally stable, and in our one, the girl was crying because she's realising that she isn't mentally stable and she's unsure of how to deal with that. Develop. In the trailer again, in The Devil Inside, they've used mid-shots to portray how the mum is mentally unstable, but very calm about it, and how she deals with her emotions in a much more calm, severe way. Whereas in our trailer, we've used a very similar setting of a very clean white background where someone more superior would work, but we've used the girl showing her emotions in a much more dramatic way, and in a way that she's very unable to deal with it, and she seems very emotionally unstable, as opposed to the girl, the woman used in The Devil Inside. The music that we've used, we've developed as a lot in horror films. We didn't really see much music used, but we saw a lot of talking from different films, such as The Devil Inside. There's always speaking, diegetic sound, whereas we decided to use non-diegetic sound of slow-paced music over the top, which has developed to show that it's a very sad film, but at the same time it's horrifying. Donnie Darko, initially we did use the soundtrack of Mad World, which is also used in Donnie Darko. It explores psychological horror and unstableness in the mind, which Donnie Darko uses as well. And Mad World was perfect for our film, but not for our trailer, as it didn't make it seem like a trailer, but it made it seem a lot more like a short film. rather than a trailer, which is why we didn't use Mad World from Donnie Darko. But if we did go forward to make a film with Mad World would probably be one of the soundtracks that we would use, much like in Donnie Darko. But due to the fact that we're not making a film and we're making a trailer, we had to develop this idea and use slow-paced music that we felt fitted in a lot better, and also layered sound with heartbeats and contrasted the sounds like that, which is something that we hadn't really heard in very many trailers. Gothica, again, we've used the scratchiness of it in our trailer, like the cuts in the arms where it says "not alone." It also links in with our poster as well previously, where we've used the scratchy writing. However, although the cuts in the arms, we've used this element, we developed it in our film by using just cuts and not cuts engraved in words or writing. Challenge. We didn't use any special effects really in our film, not really over-the-top computerised effects. All our effects were done very simply with blood and gore and stage makeup. We thought that this was a lot better and simple to use than in other films such as Jeepers Creepers, where the makeup is very over the top and it's not really believable. That's one thing that we wanted about our film, is we really, really wanted our film to be believable. So we felt that with the makeup, you could tell that it wasn't. It made the film a lot more believable, and it was a lot more effective, as it seemed a lot more art house than a really over the top Hollywood film. The slow edits that we used. We tried to find films with slow edits because we really wanted to use them, but we couldn't find any. So what we felt was best was to put in slow edits, as we felt it really worked with our film and made it an art house film as well. But because there aren't very many art house horror films on the market, we couldn't find any slow edits. So we decided to challenge the fast edits and mix them up a little bit as well with slow edits and fast edits. Again, the layered sound of the heartbeat and the flat line. We used the heartbeat to connote that although the girl is dead, half of her is dead, the other half is still alive, and it confuses our audience, and we couldn't find any films that used the heartbeat either. And very hard light. We use extreme harsh lighting to make our film a lot more art house again, which challenged a lot of ideas of even lighting or very dark lighting. We sort of contrasted the brightness and the darkness to show the two sides of the person, rather than using an even lighting or a very dark lighting. We sort of used both, combined those two elements of film and used them together.